There's a process.
God created you for a purpose, and that purpose must come to pass. Enough is enough. Stand up, leave them behind. Tell them I'm going somewhere.
Somebody is holding a position until the right owner comes. Somebody here must go home with a blessing.
I will overtake them. I will overtake them. If you believe that, shout hallelujah.
Christ in you is the hope of glory. Behold, I give unto you power. We thank God again for the 40 days prayer. We thank God for the answer to that prayer. How many of you believe that that prayer, your prayer is answered? What are you expecting to be the answer? What are you expecting to receive? I'm going to give you 3 things from the Word of God you will receive. 3 things. Number 1, Isaiah 58 and verse 6. Your expectations after prayers. Isaiah 58 and verse 6. Read.
Is not this fast that I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that you break every yoke?
This is what God... Are you sitting down or are you standing? Okay. If you are still standing, you can sit. God will like you to know the reason why you refuse to eat food. It's a good exercise to mortify the body, to discipline the body, so that your spirit and soul will focus on the Almighty God. This is what God said in Isaiah 58. Let us take it one by one. Read.
Is not this the fast?
Is it not the kind of fast I ordained? I don't know how you conduct your fasting. Not only for these 40 days, all your fasting days. God has set a standard. God has set a standard for you to pray and to expect something. Mark you, listen. That you are fasting does not mean that you are bribing God. God cannot be bribed. If you are fasting without prayer, you are starving yourself. The reason why you refuse to eat is to keep this body under discipline. Pastor, continue to read again.
Is not this the fast that I have chosen?
Now, this is the fast. God has ordained it, and you must take it. Is it not the fast I have ordained or chosen? This is the fast. Read.
To loose the bands of wickedness.
Now, do you know why you are fasting? Either 40 days, or 1 day, or 1 week, or 1 month. The first thing is to do what?
To loose the bands of wickedness.
To loose the band of wickedness. That's the purpose. That is the focus. The band of wickedness. Wicked spirits in heavenlies. Wicked spirits in high places. Witches and wizards. Can I tell you something, church? Are you hearing me? The most popular spirit is witches and wizards. They outnumbered other spirits. There are so many, and they are wicked. They don't hear I beg. You cannot appease a witch. They can kill even to their own children. I remember one occasion in this church. A witch living with a pastor. That spirit was inside the house girl. I'm telling you what happened. And the house girl, devil was using her to torment the children of the pastor. The pastor pray. And the thing was still going on. And the pastor was a prayer warrior. Whether you're a pastor or not a pastor, if you're a Christian and not, you don't know how to pray, you will be a prey in the hand of wicked spirits. You will be their food. They will eat upon your head, and there's nothing you can do. Why do we call them wicked? They are wicked because they are wicked. They don't hear I beg. You don't appease them. There are certain spirits you will appease. They will leave you for a while. But this one, you can't appease them. So, this girl was tormenting pastor's children. To the extent that pastor don't know what to do again. He came and complained to me. I said, okay, bring the girl. He brought the girl to the church. And the girl, there was a sore in her leg. That sore used to be fresh all the time, bringing blood. They treated it. They went to hospital, from one hospital to another. No medicine can help. And the pastor was wondering, what kind of sore is this that defy all medication? And she was asked, why is it that this your sore is fresh all the time and bleeding? She confessed. She said, if she doesn't see anybody again to suck blood or to harass, when there was nobody, she continued to eat herself. What do you call it? Is it ordinary joke? Wickedness. When you are eating yourself, the thing was, blood was coming out. Then I said to her, your own is finished. You will die. You can't go further. I don't know how pastor, whether he finally sent her home, I don't know. But that spirit was dealt with. You may not know what is troubling you. Spirit of wickedness, they can scatter a family for sure. If they handle your business, it's finished. Are you hearing me? God wants that wicked spirit to be dealt with. That's why you are fasting. If they give you money, their money enter the money for your business will begin to go down. They can intentionally give you their money. Something is going on, mysterious things. And if you receive their money and put it in your money, you won't know what is happening. I have seen many people come to me. He say, Daddy, I don't know what is happening to my money. If I put it, when I count it, it will not be enough. It will not be complete again. And I will continue to hide it here and there, still continue to miss. I don't know whether anybody here is having that experience. Your money miss, and you don't know how. You are beating your children for nothing. Have you ever prayed and fasted for that? Or you don't call it anything? I don't know whether such a man or woman is here. Your money going down and down. You don't know how. Wicked spirits. Do you know these spirits? Are you still hearing me? They used to have how do I know all these things? From their mouth, their confession. You can see it in the Bible. So that don't open your Bible to search where it is. These witches, if they are plaiting your hair, I pity women who used to take dead person's hair and tie their own hair. You don't know, you think that is all fashion. You are killing yourself. You are beautiful and wonderfully made. Why are you putting certain things which you don't know? They said, if they sell that thing to you, or you go to their saloon, they use that thread to tie your hair. You are finished. In the night, you may be having a nightmare. They know their properties. The Bible says, "Oh no man anything." If you take devil's property, he will demand it. He will demand that property. It's not your own. It is their own. And once you take their property, they will demand it by all means. Wicked spirits. And you cannot win that battle unless your obedience is accomplished. And then you rebuke them. And they cannot go. Times they are very stubborn. If I begin to tell you now, I will go back to crusade era. But I will tell you one. Can you imagine a sister? I may call her now a sister. Her head be like gallop. You know gallop. Some parts go down, some parts goes up. They used to break pan kernel on her head. You will not believe it. Wicked spirits. mysteries of wickedness, mysteries of iniquity. Christianity is not a religion. Can I say it's power of God to deliver you? And some of these spirits cannot go if not with fasting and prayer. Jesus said it. This kind cannot go but with fasting and prayer. They are there. Wicked spirits. They are so numerous. I have told you a story that appeared in newspaper some years ago. They wanted to have their conference, World Conference of Witches. Their secretary, human being secretary, is, I think, a lecturer in university. Well, I have told you that story so many times. You can recall the story if you like. But I want to tell you, let me chip this to you. One of their headquarters in Nigeria is in Delta. What do I say? Delta State. Don't fight anybody from Delta. That is one of their headquarters. I don't know whether it's area headquarters or zonal headquarters, but they have it there. In one town I went for crusade. They say in the night, some of these witches now and wizards, they will announce that they are going to defend that town. They are going to take care of that town. So many witches in that town. I went down there. I won't call the name of the town. Maybe you are from there. I don't want to hurt you. But I'm telling you really. Is it 2 years ago or so? The ministers from that place, some of them are now ministers, pastors. They came to me from Delta in Lagos here. They bought me some dresses. They say, Ezekiel, do you remember the time you come to that place? I said, I remember. I can't forget it. He said, they have come to thank me. They gave me dresses. He said, the seed sown is growing. He said, they come to thank me with this gift. They reminded me what happened. It was a terrible war. How many of you know Reverend N.C. Thompson of Jos? Thompson Jos. You remember? He was driving me by that time. He was driving me in a gospel van. We went to that town. I said, Tom, this town is dangerous. Let us pray. Don't eat. The spirit here is wicked. He told me all these are superstitional. I said, what? Don't you see it in the Bible? I said, okay, no problem. I said, let me help myself. If you don't want to help yourself, you can go like that. And in the night, after preaching, we went to bed. In my koro eye, not dream, not nightmare. We were lying on the, not bed, mat. Who give monkey coat? Who will give you bed? Na mat on the floor. We were lying down. And small time, I had, I looked carefully. I discovered that they are dealing with tonsil. I did not even intervene. I said, let them teach you. Let them teach you lesson. When I told you, you think that I'm joking. They were pressing him and trying to kill him. He was groaning. Oh, I had it. I don't want to help. He said, why? When I tell him that, let us pray and fast, he says superstitious. I said, okay, you go see superstitious today. When they wanted the bury, do you know what? He told me that they dig grave, wanted to put him in the grave and cover him. And when they cover you like that, you give up. Tomorrow morning we say, hey, evangelists that went to crusade don't die. They kill him in the spirit. God delivered him. He woke up. He said, Ezekiel. I said, what? What? He said, it's true. I said, what is true? When I was telling you, you take it as a joke. He entered prayer by force. There's nothing I did not see in that area. I've told you, 9 o'clock service in the morning. 9 o'clock in the morning. People were seated. 9 o'clock is not too far yet. Both the pastor and the elders, everybody, the choir, they don't know that there was a witch sitting in the front. Hypnotize them. Both the pastors, not you, and the choir, everybody, all of them, 9 o'clock in the morning, they just came into the church. All of them were dozing, sleeping. I said, tell me, you are sleeping by 9 o'clock in the morning in the church with your Bible. So many stories. So many. If you say you don't believe in these things, that means you are wiser than Jesus. You are wiser than the Bible that said we are not fighting against flesh and blood, but against wicked spirit in heavenly places, and so on and so forth. Any pastor that's posted there, some of them refuse because it's war. One Anglican pastor, a Christian, said that every night, all night prayer, and he was appealing to his superior to transfer him, that the war is terrible. It was the citadel of these unclean spirits. This is the wicked spirit. You don't know what is going on. God has been fighting for you without you knowing it. You think that because of your holiness, or because of whatever you are, God Almighty looked at you and had mercy upon you. Otherwise, they will finish you. They are wicked. They can abort a baby in the womb. I've told you a story. I want to repeat it again. A woman was frying akara. People buying and buying. If you eat this akara, you will come again. Very sweet. Do you know the kind of oil he used to use? He mixed them with human blood and fry. And when you eat, you come again. I don't know why people are going without Christ. You are exposing yourself to danger. When you sleep, when man sleep, the devil come. I was in one man's house. You know that time, no hotel. You just spot with a man or a family. And in the morning when we are praying morning prayer, his children came out. I said, sir, this one. Something there inside. He said, what? I say, unclean spirit is in him. Is in her. He was looking at me. I said, watch. It's not a question of watch. I said, come. You will see now. The girl woke up from sleep where she was lying. Her eyes closed. And he was walking around without hitting anything. He was walking around the parlor. He can't hit the chair, but he was sleeping. Going about. I said to the father, do you see what I'm talking about? They are pushing her and they are directing her ways. This is just empty vessel. Who is living inside? All these people going about. This girl, a final. You go marry. He go show you Pepe. I don't want to go in that stories. Those of you who were here when we were outside in Hour of Grace, you saw some. One woman here was pregnant. And she was praiseful because the witch and wizard prepared her. She was pregnant, waiting for the day of delivery. And that day reached. Do you know what she delivered? Rapper. How? I don't know. One. She gave testimony. One delivered snake. Is now married. How? I don't know. But the wicked spirit can finish somebody. Wicked spirit in heavenlies. If not God. Accident they are causing. Accident. You know that meeting I said they have in Nigeria. They said after that meeting, a lecturer in Unilag was their secretary. They said they want 1,500 drums of human blood. Human blood, 1,500 drums. How are they going to get it? By accident, by abortion, and so on and so forth. And you can see when some motor get accident, they will be glad, and blood is poured, they will be glad. They look at the blood. Let me cut the whole story short. wicked spirits. They wanted to have another meeting after that very one. I said, no way. They moved down to Benin. Let Pa in the house. I said, no way. They moved down to Porakot. They said, no way. They postponed the meeting indefinitely till today. You don't know what the prayer of the church is doing. When we pray, we just pray. We don't expect something. Read that place again, please. Isaiah 58 verse 6.
Is not this the fast?
Is it not the fast as I ordained that you'll be expecting some of these things?
That I have chosen.
I have chosen.
To loose the bands of wickedness.
To loose the band of wickedness. Because of this 40 days prayer. Believe it. All the band of wickedness in your business or life is losing. If you have not been thanking God for that, begin to thank God. Say, God, I thank you for you have loosened the band of wickedness in my life. I call upon you, not only in these 40 days, anytime you are praying, this is the yardstick to lose the band. Next.
To undo the heavy burdens.
To undo the
heavy burdens.
Some of you are heavy laden, burden, heavy weight. You have a burden. You don't know how to offload it. This fasting is losing it. Are you hearing me? Appropriate it to yourself. This 40 days fasting has lifted that burden off. If you don't know, begin to thank God for that from now. Say, this burden is lifted. Is lifted. Is lifted. You know, I asked some of these possessed women, I said, why are you causing abortion in some pregnancies? Why do you normally cause abortion? Do you know what they said? They said, they confess by force. He said they cause abortion because they used to use that small baby's blood to drink gari. To drink gari. Do you see their wickedness? Their wickedness. One woman in this church, I'm saying what is real. I prayed for her. Pray. Her neck was heavy, big. I said, what is wrong with your neck? He moved from here to Foursquare Church. I went to Foursquare to preach. I saw her again. I said, why? He said, this thing has been there for a long time. I said, what happened? He said, because they chopped one baby and the bone hooked her on the neck. And since that time, that bone refused to go. I said, shall I pray? I no go pray. What you sow. All these abortions you are causing, reap what you sow. I don't know where she is now. She used to come. They will give you. You eat. I don't want to make you afraid. But in my office, one woman came. He said, Daddy, thank God for what God is doing. Kineko. Hey. He brought 2 nylon packets. Chin-chin. 2 packets. Chin-chin. He said, give mommy one. Take one. Foolishness. Woman, you are tempting me. I receive it from her. She said, I know you will not eat it. Oh, you know that I will not eat it. But he gave to me. The next day he came. He said, do you eat that chin-chin? I said, for where? My head no go enter your mouth. She said, she know that I will not eat it. She no more come to this church again. She left. What can I tell you? They appear as angels. They may sit where you are sitting, near you, but they are eyeing at you. I'm not calling anybody wicked, but I'm calling the spirits wicked. Witches and marine spirit go together. Marine spirit is enticing spirit, enticing. They pull down men. They do seren. Hey, men can go to any length with them. Wicked spirit. They siphon your money. They make their face and you fall. On crusade ground, I don't know. One came, I don't know whether he want to tempt herself, not me. She climbed, I said, bring that woman. She climbed up to the platform. I look at her eyeball to eyeball, and he collapsed. People were surprised. I've seen them. One fell on the ground, crusade ground, and died. I said, I'm not the one who killed him. When you come with your unclean spirit to tempt the spirits of Christ, you pay the price. And this church is not for them. Are you hearing me? If they're troubling you in any way, rise up. It's time to slaughter. There's a time to kill. Do you hear me? There's a time to kill. Don't let witch live. But don't kill anybody. That shall not do any murder. But kill that spirit out of your life. At times you are so emotionally tensed up. You don't know why you are angry. You just see yourself angry for no cause. Check your life. It's not normal. For no just cause, you just wake up and your face frown. When the Bible says rejoice forevermore, but you are angry. Who are you? Check yourself. The wicked band of the enemy. Pastor, the next one is what?
And to let the oppressed go free.
Where the first one is what?
To loose the bands of wickedness.
To lose the band of wicked, lose the band of witches. There are so many. 75% of the people in the world are involved. 75%. That's why they are wicked. The world lieth in wickedness. There are so many in Nigeria. They may invade your family. Turns you up for no just cause. You call it temperament. Huh? Temperament. What is the temperament of Jesus? Tell me. What is the temperament of Jesus? How many kind of temperament do we have in your book? If you have four temperaments. These people, we are scholars. How many basic temperaments? 4. Which one belongs to Jesus? Which one do you think that Jesus has? Because if you show me the temperament of Jesus, I will pursue it. You can't point at one. The Bible says, let this mind that is in Christ be in you. There is a mind of Christ outside all these temperaments. Have the mind of Christ, complete sound mind. You're telling me I am a Kiniko. You name them. Is it because of my temperament? That's why I'm behaving so. The spirit is eating you up. You are blaming temperament. Repent! There's nothing hard for God to do. Be ye transformed and have the mind of Christ. Don't lay excuse on something. Call a spade a spade. Because of my temperament, I am sanguine. I am sanguine. Which one again? Melancholy. Which one again? Choleric. Which one again? Phlegmatic. If you see somebody phleg, they are just behaving like, and they agree that temperament, they can't change it. If you see somebody that is sanguine, so careless, they believe that is how they are. Choleric. They believe that it's from their father. If that's how God made you, I'm sorry. Have the mind of Christ. Read Isaiah 58 again. The next one.
To undo the heavy burdens.
To undo the heavy burdens. All the burdens in you, by the grace of God, this fasting, God will lift it up. The burden. Come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden. Burden. There's a good burden. There's a bad one. Next.
And to let the oppressed go free.
Let the oppressed do what?
Go free.
Oppress. Oppressing you. You are not free. You are not free. Go run. You can't break that thing. Be oppressed. Finish.
And that ye break every yoke.
You break every what?
Yoke.
That is the reason for fasting. Break every yoke. Don't nurse it. Don't put powder on it. That yoke, don't say it's from my father, it's from my mother. Break that yoke. Break that yoke. It's not because of this fast. Anytime you are fasting, let this be your modus operandi. Break that yoke. Break it. Take the yoke of Jesus. This is the first expectation. Release you from all these things. You'll be free from all these things in Jesus' name. So if tonight you are still struggling around it, believe God. You are released. 2. I say it is 3 of them. 3. Do you know what Jesus said? Ask, seek, and what? Knock. 3. You know why he put it there? The second one, restoration. The first one is release. Everybody say release. Lose him and let him go. Release. Be free. The second one is restoration. Everybody say restoration. Restoration. Say it again. How many of you know that you need restoration in your life? Or nothing is missing? Let us read. Joel 2:25. Restoration. It must happen. We must recollect these 40 days fasting and tell God, this is why we fasted. To lose the band, even in this nation, in the family, in the church, in my life. Joel 2:25. Read.
And I will restore to you.
I will restore to. Who said that? Huh? I will restore to who?
To you.
Okay.
The years that the locust has eaten.
The years that locust has
eaten.
The first thing God will restore is your years. I come to that. I will come to that. You may not fully understand it, but I will come to it. But let us see other things before we come to it. Locust has eaten
the cankerworm.
The cankerworm.
And the caterpillar.
And caterpillar.
And the palmer worm.
And palmer worm.
My great army.
My do you see what God called his great army? You know, you may be carrying your machine gun, your armored car. God look at you and say, hey, all this bomb you are carrying, let me give you my army. Hey, army, show yourself. Cankerworm, locust, caterpillar, palmer worm. You may say insects. Yes, insects. They are eating people. If you check these insects, you know, man is standing like a tree. The blind man said, I saw people like trees. You are planted like a tree. So something is eating that tree. You may not know. The first insect is what?
Locust.
Locust. Is that the first one?
Yes, sir.
Locust. Some people here are being eaten by locusts, and you don't know it. That's why you fast. Locusts used to eat the leaves, the leaf of the tree. They eat them. The next day you won't see leaf again on the tree. They eat leaves. Is it not written? Your leaves shall not wither. Huh? That shows you that that's locust. I don't know the area. The enemy is eating your leaves. Let us assume your money going down like a breeze. Locusts eating the leaves. Next.
Cankerworm.
Cankerworm. Cankerworm is eating the stem of the tree, the body. Cankerworm. You will see a big tree eating up the body. What else?
And the caterpillar.
Caterpillar, the branches. What again?
And the palmer worm.
Palmer worm. Palmer worm eats the root. You know, when a tree is eaten by the root, what will happen? Huh? Palmer worm is in so many families. They call it generational curse. Your grandfather, your father, you don't know that your family tree, the root is being eaten up by palmer worm. Small time, boy, you go fall. But because of your prayers, your family will be delivered. If you have not prayed, start today. God, my fasting and prayer is for my family. I mentioned them. Now I recollect all the benefits. The reason why I fasted is because of myself and my family. Nigeria is being eaten up by palmer worm. A heavy nation like this. Try to collapse. When I say 1993, I will never forget it till I depart. When I saw Nigeria shaking like a tree, going down, people were running helter-skelter. The tree, the root is being shaken, and people are running. They don't know what is happening. It's a spiritual attack. Palmer worm eating your generation. Palmer worm eating your family. All the members of your family, nobody is doing good. Even one person. I've seen it in my office. They will say, in our family, nobody is doing fine. Check the worm. It's not the will of God. Palmer worm. The next one.
Finish that. My great army, which I sent among you.
He sent among you because he sent it among you because if you disobey, a nation in disobedience will experience all these things. Palmer worm eating the root. Your spiritual root, is it being eaten? Your prayer root, are you increasing or are you going low? Check the worm that is eating you up. This fasting, God will do something about it. Banned, loosened. The captives will be set free. Now, he said, he will restore the years. The years. That's the first one. God is going to restore what? The years. What is that? Number 3. Reward. Now, release, restore, then reward. From my right to my left. All of you. God will reward you. Are you ready? You can't say, God, 40 days. You come in the morning and come in the evening without any reward. not my God. Even cup of cold water, God will reward. How much more when you say, I will not eat, even from morning till 12, because of something I'm asking God for. God will wipe away your tears. God will reward you. What kind of reward are you expecting from God? What kind? What kind of reward? Let me tell you, not everybody will receive that reward. If that person that will receive that reward is here, let the person say, yeah. Let us examine whether you are the one. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 6.
But without faith.
Without what?
Faith.
Without what?
Faith. It is impossible to please God.
It is what? It is impossible. It's not a thing to do. It's impossible to
please him.
One. That is one. You know, it's one sentence, but comma.
For he that
another statement. For he
that cometh to God.
That cometh to who?
God.
Do you come to God by fasting and prayer? Have you come to God with fasting and prayer? He that cometh unto him
must believe.
Must what?
Believe. That he is.
That he is.
And that he is a rewarder.
He is a what?
Rewarder.
Now God cannot say he reward and never reward. God is not a liar. You must believe that he is. And he is a rewarder.
Of them that diligently seek him.
Now this is the condition. Of them that diligently what?
Seek him.
Now you may fast too. You may refuse to eat too. You may do anything you like too. But this clause, diligently, diligent. If you are not seeking him diligently, now ASK is asked. Seek diligently. If you seek diligently, K, knock, will be open. You knock. Diligently seek him. Diligently seek him. Now you set your face upon him, who he is, and you groan. You refuse eating. God, I am seeking you diligently. Now, I am not only talking about the past fasting, in case tomorrow you want to fast. Develop a seeking pattern. Diligently seeking him. He is watching you. Not everybody that prays will receive reward, but those who are seeking him diligently. Lord, I will not eat. I have a body. I am seeking your face on this. You diligently be careful to seek him. Diligently what? Seek him. He's a rewarder. What and what? Let me tell you, just beginning from this one. He will restore your years. He will do what? Let me ask you. Is there for some years now, maybe you are 10 years old, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, and so on. Is there any year in your life you say, this year is good though. This year is good. You want that year to come back. Is there any year that is very good for you? I'm asking you. Huh? Is there any year that something good happened to you? You like it. You will like it. That year you will not forget. God knows that you are happy because of that year. And he said he will restore that year back. That kind of year will come again. My prayer is, oh God, until I finish pastoring, I don't want to see a year like 1993. I don't like to see it. Just for example, there are some years you know that God really bless you. You want that year to come back. You are so happy that year. Maybe you are so blessed. You were so filled with joy. You say, you may not thank God, but God knows that that year was good for you. He said, read Joel 2:25 again, so that they will hear it from God. Joel 2:25.
And I will restore to you.
I will restore to you
the years.
Okay. He will restore what? The years. It may not be only 1 year. One after the other. Those years you were so happy, God will make it happen again. God will make it do what? I was so happy. A brother came to me. I don't know why I'm saying this, but to the glory of God. He came to me. He said, Daddy, after 14 years of childlessness, no child for 14 years, God visited me. Once, 3 blows. He can't deny, he can never forget that year. I think he will give thanks by the end of this month. That year, you hit jackpot. That year, God helped you to build a house. That year, your pocket plenty. That year, something good happened to you. God gave it to you. Now God gave you that year. Now God do what? Gave you that year. And it will happen again. He said he will restore the year. He will restore the years. He will restore the years. We are ending this fasting with this. God will restore the years. Not only the years, all the time cankerworm has eaten. He will restore it. All the years that you have been wondering, what is this? He will restore all the good years. He will make you to smile again. Wait for it. I say wait for it. The fasting is ended. The blessing is coming. Wait for it. I don't know whether somebody is waiting for it. Wait for it. It's coming. God is not a liar. Heaven and earth will pass away, but God is true. Wait for that year. Wait for that week. Wait for that month. Wait for that moment. Wait for that time. This fasting and prayer is a yardstick to restore it. He will restore it. My brother, I rejoice with you. Sister, I rejoice with you. Why? God will restore it. God will release every band of the enemy. Release. God will restore. God will reward. That is the message. You will be on Hallelujah side. You believe it? Stand up.
Join Me's outreach of Christian Pentecostal Mission International under the apostolic and prophetic ministry of God's anointed servants, Reverend Dr. O. Ezekiel, the General Overseer, Reverend Dr. Mercy Ezekiel, Co-Pastor, National and International Coordinator, and other anointed servants of God as they present Faith Clinic every Tuesday. At Faith Clinic, sinners become saints, the sick heal, the barren conceive, the oppressed are set free, the demon-possessed delivered. Time, 9 a.m. Me's outreach also extends love and antenatal healthcare prayer sessions for expectant mothers and pregnant women every Wednesday at 4 p.m. prompt. And also every Thursday at 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. for Business Commission, where men and women are commissioned with grace to succeed in business, career, family life, and so on. At Christian Pentecostal Mission International Headquarters, 10 and 12 Latif Salami Street, Ajawa Estate, along Murtala Mohammed Airport Road, Lagos. Me's outreach, reaching out to the troubled souls. Don't miss it. CPM, Jesus Christ is Lord. God has a plan for you, a plan to give you a bright future. Come and experience expository teachings and a powerful prophetic breakthrough service this Sunday at Christian Pentecostal Mission International with God's anointed servants, Reverend Dr. O. Ezekiel, the General Overseer, Reverend Dr. Mercy Ezekiel, Co-Pastor, National and International Coordinator, and other anointed servants of God. Worship with us this Sunday at 8:30 a.m. at Christian Pentecostal Mission International Headquarters, 10 and 12 Latif Salami Street, Ajawa Estate, along Murtala Mohammed Airport Road, Lagos. You can also worship with any CPM International branch close to you. It will be a time of salvation, healing, deliverance in the presence of God. CPM, Jesus Christ is Lord.